Hello, I am Ilona, and today I want to talk about the stork, white stork specifically, and the relationship between this bird, stork, and people, and how in different times people perceived white stork, maybe mythology associated with this bird. The bird. Actually, there's quite a lot. But first of all, I have to start from my own personal experience and what I know because I am Latvian from Latvia, and every spring, what we see, storks arriving, and that's a big deal. And in autumn, yes, it is sad times when they have to leave. They are leaving, and summer is over. And sometimes you can see huge flocks of them. It looks really amazing. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of videos of these happenings. And what makes the white stork extraordinary for people in these countries which have this nesting store, which is not just Latvia but also Estonia, Lithuania, Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, I believe, Czechia. Actually, yes, I also do watch some these nest cameras with storks. Really interesting. Sometimes so much drama happening here there. And so what makes this, yes, this stork extraordinary? It's not just that it migrates. Many birds migrate. You obviously also pay attention to some other birds, which they arrived, they left, but they return to the same place, to the same nest year after year. Same pair. Well, maybe not always necessarily same pair. Sometimes something happens. They are also unfortunately mortal. They return to the same family. So family, human family, and the stork family have this kind of like connection. At least it feels. I don't know how storks feel about that, uh, but for humans, at least, yes, it feels like this kind of special connection. And the stork nest is not built in one season. It is built over years and even decades. It can be very heavy, very heavy. Yes, hundreds of kilograms. But also, people did made these platforms on rooftops specifically to encourage nesting. For you, for a household, for your family, it was also always kind of important to have a stork near your house. That's why people are keeping the nests of birds which are migrating. They are also some kind of this calendar. They give you not like you would miss coming of spring if storks didn't arrive, but you had these all clues and you didn't have a real calendar, so maybe real knowing what date is today. There were no dates, but you could see when stork arrives. Okay, so it brings spring. Also, it is not necessary always every single year on the same date. So that was like this kind of more flexible calendar, like it is today, which is useful for today. But back then, every spring was not the same, every autumn was not the same, and also you had to look at all these clues to predict something, what kind of weather we could have, because you had to think about when you plant your seeds and stuff. And where do they go for most of human history? Nobody knew. They store the parts south in late summer, and who knows where does it go? It goes somewhere where the sun goes, and then they return back usually. And how would you, as someone who doesn't know, how would you think? Interesting. When you sit in your farm, do you wonder if I could go there? Could it be better there to stay at winter? Yeah, who knows? But for them, maybe it looks so far away that it is impossible to walk there. But stork, as a bird, it can fly. But also, what is important, they were nesting in our countries. Even if they spend, I guess, more time outside Latvia than inside Latvia every year. And actually, they spend a lot of time in a way for Estonian name. Also, what I checked, interesting that the stork is called Tonekurk, like Tone from Tonela, the Estonian underworld, the realm of the dead, the place souls go after death. So this was literally like, or is underworld crane. Estonians looked at the stork like the bird that disappears into the unknown south each autumn and returns each spring. And yes, maybe, yeah, it was something really, they went somewhere unreachable for humans. So maybe they even saw them like like the bird travels between, and probably not just stork, but all migrating birds. They travel between our world and the other world, and they had this connection between the living and the dead. That is really interesting. Another thing which is more well known, the baby bringing story. This is a popular. uh, it is a folk also memory, and it makes sense that it arrives in spring around 9 months after summer solstice. So this is how it was connected to the babies. Another interesting thing, for example, in ancient Egypt, stork was believed to represent the Ba, human soul. For them, yes, they also appeared and disappeared. They didn't probably even stayed, at least not in huge amounts in Egypt. They just flied by 2 times a year. That's interesting. So they probably saw them a little bit differently and in huge flocks, which usually, yeah, you don't see in Latvia like regularly. So, as you can see, Estonian and Egyptian idea of a stork is quite similar. And I am thinking, could it be something like this? Maybe even reincarnation bird? Because if it travels to somewhere outside our world, to the world where all the souls travel, and then they return in spring and bring like these babies. You could connect. No, well, maybe I am making this up now, but kinda you could even connect that they go there, or that person dies and goes as a bird, or well, maybe just in this case specifically as a stork, this person's soul. But then they come back, and at that same time, in spring, usually people had more children because now it maybe doesn't matter as much. Also, it depends where you live, but back then in the north, it would be better to have a baby somewhere around maybe summers. How could hunter gatherers see them? For them, obviously, they were still seasonal birds. They clearly could see them arriving in spring and leaving in autumn. And for stork, in Baltic regions, all these marshes and everything, storks they do eat fish and frogs and including snakes. Yeah, actually, they do eat snakes. They do kill snakes. It is different when you don't have stork or any other creature very close to you. It is not as easy to observe them and maybe build this kind of connection. But all these later mythologies and everything were not made out of thin air. they still there was still some kind of like this evolution going on. Maybe okay. Technically, it is also possible that people started to build houses and started to make nests, and from that point, uh, people started to build this relationship and make this kind of myths or attribute to them these kind of special qualities. It, of course, yes, that also is possible. Also, it didn't happen in one day. It's not like some kind of hunter gatherer woke up one morning and decided to build a farm. For hunter gatherers, probably the stork's return was also another sign that winter is over, nature will awaken, the landscape will change. So, this was also some kind of a seasonal calendar, and which also means that a lot of food will be now available again. Thanks for watching and goodbye.